Now, this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and you've seen these maps before, and you know that this is the map, one of the maps, historical maps of Dr. HAIM BEINART. Now, I want to focus particularly today, he's going to, probably fairly short shear on, at this point, of the spread of Kabbalah. He's trying to say, to teach us, that in the Mediterranean world, at the time of between the 12th and the 13th centuries, more or less, or the 12th and the 14th centuries, not sure I'm counting exactly, let's say like that more or less, the study of the mysteries of the Torah becomes very prevalent in the Mediterranean area. Now, before we were talking about Ashkenaz and France and northern France, and the Rhineland, and all the different places that we found the Tosafos, but here in Spain it's a completely different story. Here in Spain, or we talk about Spain is the center, and all the way around the Mediterranean you have different schools of Kabbalists and different works that he has been able to compile, to know all the way over to Persia and Tabriz, where things are, Kabbalah is studied there at that time. Now I want to focus particularly on the activities of one person whose life is not really, let me see if I get this focused. Yeah, turn this off. The activities of a person who is called Moshe De Leon. And he says that Moshe De Leon, also known as Moshe De Leon, and Isaac ben Solomon Abisola. I don't know that name, but let's talk about Moshe De Leon. Moshe De Leon lived in a city apparently where he developed this Kabbalah, was in the city of Guadalajara. And you see this is in north central Spain. I don't know, we don't see a Madrid on here. It's a little bit difficult for me to see it. But that's Spain. This is like a north central Spain, below Saragossa, where the disputations took place. And this is perhaps pre-Christian Spain, but then again, maybe the Christians are there as well. Just not developed completely. Let's understand, Moshe De Leon is a person who is always associated with the publication of the Zohar HaKodesh, the holy work of the most deep of the works of the Kabbalah. And the Uri and all of the work of the Arizal was all done in order to be able to help us to understand what's in the Zohar. So that's how important the activities of Moshe De Leon were. Now, let's come over here and read. This is a short blurb, and it has a misstatement in it. Now, I want to kind of clarify it. It's a very common amongst scholars who study the history of the Jews, and they realize that the Zohar is related to Moshe De Leon. And they make a mistake because they're not really familiar with the contents of the Zohar, of what's inside of it. But they're interested in that he is actually was the author of the Zohar, which is far from the truth. So let's see what this has to spread. So here we're on this spread, the spread of the Kabbalah. Jewish mysticism in its various guises was another manifestation of spiritual creativity. So we have to understand, in the oppression that we lived in, between the Muslims on the one hand and the church on the other, we were always a suppressed people. But at any rate, what happened was another manifestation we became tremendously spiritually active. And as you see that we saw in the previous share in regards to the Tosafos in the northern part of Christian Europe, it was rooted in the theosophy as expressed by the creation, the revealed Shekinah, and the promised redemption in time to come. Now, let's read that again. The study of the Kabbalah, this is his understanding, was rooted in the theosophy. I guess that means the philosophy or the underlying Weltanschauung of the Torah, as expressed by the creation. The creation what? The revealed Shekinah, and the promised redemption in time to come. So let's go over these things. First of all, Kabbalah deals with creation. It's way, way ahead of Einstein. The revealed Shekinah is this actually communication, and it was read in Rabbi Mimran, for example, in Tevekus, or Rabbi Nachman. The concept of Tevekus with Hashem, speaking to Hashem, getting close to Hashem, that's Rabbi Nachman. And then different mind activities that bring us also to awareness of the light of the Shekhinah, and the promised redemption in time to come. All of this is part of the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, with all its social and historical implications for the people of Israel, had a special place among the mystical philosophies. That's where we try to set it out. A prolific literature created a world of values which found expression in one particular sefer, which is called the Sefer HaZohar. The Sefer HaZohar is considered to be the greatest book of Kabbalah, and in the literature which developed around it, for example, there's the Tikkun Zohar, which is it's a play. A Tikkun Zohar is a play on different combinations of the word Bereshis, which is a 6-letter word, which means beginning. And then there's the Raya Mahemna, which he calls the faithful shepherd. That's correct, which is Moshe Rabbeinu, or the spirit of Moshe Rabbeinu comes in to reveal secrets. At the beginning of the 13th century, so here we are, the 1200, Kabbalistic works flourished in southern France and northern Spain, eventually spreading even beyond the Spanish border. According to Isaac Bar Shmuel of Acre, who arrived in Spain in the year 1305, Sefer HaZohar was written by Moshe De Leon between 1275 and 1285. Now let's write this again. He's, according to this person, to this rabbi, Moshe De Leon, the Chacham, has a tremendous power. According to Isaac Bar Shmuel of Acre, so he says, who arrived in Spain in the year 1305, the Sefer HaZohar was written by Moshe De Leon. Now this is not true, but it's just a misprint. He was actually published by Moshe De Leon and edited by Moshe De Leon, so that if you study the Zohar, the form in which you find it, that old product was produced by this man, Moshe De Leon, and we just looked at it previously. He was in a place in Spain called Guadalajara. So going on, Kabbalistic literature gives the further expression to a protest against the moral decline in a Jewish society, which must mend its way. So in other words, he's saying that there is an element within the Zohar itself that is able to strike deeply and arouse repentance for bad deeds. He says, as Sefer HaZohar, Tikkun HaZohar, and the Raya Mahemna do. In fact, that's what part of their teaching, that's an underlying part, is to get us to come back, become closer to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. In this literature, with its wealth of symbols, Jewish sages sought solutions to problems of the Galut, the suppression which we mentioned, being dispersed in the diaspora. Now, as bad as it is to be dispersed and be not in our own land, it is a survival technique. Not technique, it's what the hand of God is. He put in many, many different places. So when the massacres came, they were local massacres, which was undone, of course, by the Germans with their trains and so on and so forth and their death camps. But at this point, they didn't have the means for that. And so to the problem of Galut being dispersed in the diaspora and under the thumb of people who want to suppress us, apprehension of the Shekhinah, that is, be able to actually make one with the Shekhinah, and even practical instruction on hastening the redemption, which we call in Kabbalah is called sweetening the dinim, sweetening the punishments. And then we're going to leave a lot more on page 86. This is page 54. So of the Lurianic Kabbalah, where we start to learn about the holy Ariya Kodesh, Rabbi Isaac Luria in Tzfat. That was in the 1600s. Actually, it was in the 1500s, I believe. But in the 16th century. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this is the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.